but it's really a smooth track, so I think it's going to be interesting.
Boy, don't you wish you could get it on the inside of the minds of those two ladies as they duke it out on the streets here? I think both of them are looking at this. They have to be looking at this as first in class.
They certainly are. They're having a great run going.
You know, that's a good point, Scott. It is more than first in class. One of the very few ruts on this course, you saw both cars just jump over it. Both of these ladies are very competitive race drivers, and they are running well placed in a contest of a bunch of other race drivers. It's not just a novelty. They're doing quite well.
They always have. They've worked very, very hard over the years. Lynn St. James is, you know, I was involved with her for a number of years at Jack Roush. And she works hard at it.
After 36 laps, 14 cars remain on the lead lap, and we've had a spin in the top three. That is Chris Neifel. Scott, did you see that?
No, I didn't get a chance to see it. I just kind of glimpsed of that when it came up on screen there. I'm not sure if he had a contact with somebody or if it just got away from him.
There seemed to be no marks, at least on the right side of the car, and that was in the direction of the turn. So had he been bumped from the rear, more than likely it would have been the right rear. There are no marks there, and Chris Neifel has to wait out traffic, and he is losing valuable ground. Chris Neifel, who came into today's race ranked third in the point standings, is not only losing a lot of positions, but a lot of points. Four times in 1990. All of his career wins in Trans Am have taken place in this season. He leads this league in dollars won, having amassed $85,000 so far this season. 9 times he has finished in the top 10 of the 10 races. He leads also in that category. We mentioned to you earlier, he has led more laps than anybody else. And in a category which I sort of call performance points, road racers like to keep track of the number of poles, the number of wins, and the number of fastest laps in a race. Those 3 categories: poles, wins, fastest laps. I call them performance points. Kendall has done the best of anybody in that. 10 times he scored a first in one of those categories.
All those things mean a lot. It should be interesting to see what he does. I know he'd like to get in an IndyCar, but he's awful big to be getting an IndyCar, so maybe his option would be something over in NASCAR.
That definitely is his first choice, IndyCars, as we see Jack Baldwin trying to find some way to get around apparently a slowing Irv Hare. Neifel has indicated, although not loudly publicly, that he'd like to go to IndyCars, but that could be tough for him. Let's see if Baldwin can get by. This is a fight for 5th position, and Jack Baldwin finally finds a way to get underneath Irv Hare as they go into that left-hander around the mall. So it's Baldwin in 5th. Hare is now in 6th position. Lynn St. James 7th, and Desiree Wilson continues to hold the fort in 8th position. And Irv Hare is definitely slowing. We called that a couple of laps ago when it looked like he had moved to the inside coming down the home stretch on Lincoln Avenue. Jack Baldwin has gotten past, as has Desiree Wilson. There on your screen. Make that Lynn St. James. Desiree Wilson perhaps will be the next to work her way around the number 15 car of Irv Hare.
Looks like Irv's having a lot of problem right now. I'm not really sure what the condition is, but he's losing a lot of speed and a lot of ground.
Yeah, he really is, and he senses that as he moves over. He has done that a couple of times now for both Lynn St. James and Desiree. As the car slows, he just moves over as they get to one of those logical passing corners. He is emitting more on-burned fuel than any other car out there, Scott. Could that be affecting the performance of that car? I know timing was also something that a lot of the Ford and Chevrolet engineers were saying was a real critical item today.
That definitely could be. It could be another situation that we don't know about going on there that is really coming to face up.
As we look at the setting sun over the Rocky Mountains, some 20 miles to the west of downtown Denver, you look at some of the very spectacular architecture downtown. The downtown of Denver is one of the most fascinating cities to go through. The Trans Am cars roar underneath us. And I will comment again something I said during one of the breaks. The pictures that you at home are seeing are much better than the actual conditions in the ambient air here in downtown Denver. As the sun drops behind the mountains, the shadows of the buildings buildings just about blot out any light down on the race course, and it's not quite dark enough for the street lights to come on yet, but the TV cameras have been tweaked to perfection by our crack crew, and they look pretty good.
I don't know. I keep an eye on these street lights down in front of us here. I think they may be coming on here before the end of this race.
It is getting to be late in the afternoon here in Denver, Colorado. It was a very busy weekend. They attempted to get everything done in 3 days, and these drivers had not even had a chance to see this track when they took to it on Friday morning. It was only blueprints. All weekend long, it's been very warm. Race temperatures today were 93 when this race green flagged off. A lot of the drivers and crews were caught off guard by that. They didn't expect it to be that warm in Denver, and they all had to make some changes for that. Dorsey almost getting caught up behind Buzz Dyer, the California driver, as they put their second lap on the number 37 Oldsmobile.
Back there, just in the foreground, we saw Max Jones coming around third place.
We'll be right back with more Denver Trans Am from the Grand Prix after this. For now, as the shadows continue to darken this race course, the brightest star on the course right now in downtown Denver is Tom Kendall. He has this race, Scott. I am convinced now, after watching him all afternoon and early evening for these 43 laps, he's in control of the intervals.
SCCA Beretta is running very, very strong all day long. He's played a smart race. Again, he's shown a lot of maturity. He's come a long way, I think, this season, getting really a handle on the cars and the situation. And the team, I think, has really come together also. They've been preparing a fabulous car, and everybody's come together to work on that car, to really pull it together, especially after the problems they had pre-season. And we're seeing he's seeing the fruits of their labors right now.
The qualifying speed, full speed, turned in by Tom Kendall was almost 70 miles an hour, 69.7. He is lapping this 1.9-mile course now at 66.32 miles per hour as he goes underneath Mark Peelsticker for the second time. And the interval from first to second is a stable 2.1 seconds. And Tom Kendall is the man who pretty much is controlling that, or so it seems. Now, however, all these street courses seem to develop a personality all of their own. And the personality of the street course in Detroit is, well, you never really know what's going to happen. And all kinds of fireworks fire off in the final 10 laps. And 1990 was certainly no exception. Tommy was leading that race, and he got bumped out of it on a restart. Now we come to Denver for the first time, and this place doesn't really have a personality yet. It's been a very smooth race up till now, but you can never breathe easy at one of these places, Scott.
You certainly can't, but it does have a totally different feel in Detroit. Detroit has always given me the feeling of a rough and tumble, beat 'em up type racetrack, where this is more of a fluid, flowing track. You really get into a rhythm out there. You really get into a situation that feels good to the drivers. It's not really hard, throw it back, throw it right, beat them up, tear it up type situation. This is just a lot more fluid, and I think from not having too many cautions, it's that sort of situation.
Yeah, you saw from that panorama that series of S corners that actually are right in the center of the course, the almost 2 miles. The one set of S's is on the south side. The other set is on the north side. There's a nice diamond vision that a lot of the fans here have an opportunity to watch as they spectate on this race. And that opens up the track. There are some tight spots, but unlike at places like Detroit, where sometimes the corners appear to be only about 3 or 4 car lengths ahead, you do get just a second before your next 90-degree corner here, I've noticed.
Just a little more fluid. Even talking to some of the drivers, that was one of the comments they made. They feel it had a real good rhythm to it.
Chris Neifel, to bring you up to date on that, is currently in 13th position and driving hard. He is catching both Dick Danielson in the number 9 Oldsmobile and Bob Sobey in the number 55 Camaro. And should he be able to catch both of them, he could